founder of Cloud Data Summit. Why did we decide that it was time to create Cloud Data Summit? We are living in the midst of a very important technological revolution. These are very interesting times. It has never been easier for startups to get off the ground and grow at phenomenal speed. And it's increasingly difficult for incumbents to remain relevant. This data revolution has been happening for a number of years, but it has been isolated to the fringes. The late 20th century brought us mainframes, then databases, then reporting tools, then data mining tools, then distributed databases, then decision support tools. This satisfied much of the need to analyze the data available at the time. Not all of it. We were constantly constrained by the limits of what our systems could process. We made technology decisions around the maximum capacity of what we thought we would need 5 years from now. We were usually wrong. This threw us into a constant cycle of overloading our servers, queuing up new workloads and projects to wait for a time when we had capacity to run them. Well, what did this mean in practice? This was a vicious, never-ending cycle of deploy technology, wait for an upgrade, deploy more technology, and then wait for another upgrade. This cycle took several years to complete. And in the meantime, business questions are going unanswered. Analysts were doing their best to answer questions with the tools that they had, but they just weren't enough. The need for increasing processing power was born, and the need to consume and analyze big data at internet scale. New technologies were adopted by the big tech companies. These technologies were difficult to work with, but they were capable of processing data at a rate previously unheard of. Other companies started to learn about these new platforms, and so began the hype. Other companies tried to adopt these new big data technologies. Some succeeded and were able to gain grand new capabilities. They could quickly understand customer needs and adapt to them. They could turn on a dime. They could handle any workload that you could throw at them. But many failed. Some started down this path for the wrong reasons. Others vastly underestimated the difficulty and the cost of maintaining these systems. More still lacked the commitment and the long-term investment required to sustain these new systems. Companies which succeeded were able to carve out new industries which challenged the status quo. Companies which were once juggernauts collapsed into obscurity. Some disappeared completely. Today, the market makers run on cloud-native platforms. They can find and capitalize on new market opportunities in a matter of days, while incumbents struggle to just keep up. In 2019, the cloud computing market will generate over $200 billion in revenue. At its current growth rate, it will generate over $330 billion in 2022. And there is still a massive amount of growth that the market has yet to realize. According to a recent industry survey, 41% of enterprise workloads will be running in public cloud by next year. On-premise workloads have decreased by 50% in the last few years. Just yesterday, Jeff Barr, chief evangelist for Amazon Web Services, announced that Amazon moved 75 petabytes of internal data stored in nearly 7,500 Oracle databases. He quotes, "I am happy to report that this database migration effort is now complete. Amazon's consumer business just turned off its final Oracle database. Over the years, we realized that we were spending too much time managing and scaling thousands of legacy Oracle databases. Instead of focusing on high-value differentiated work, our database administrators spent a lot of time simply keeping the lights on, while transaction rates climbed and the overall amount of stored data mounted." He goes on to explain that each of these databases moved to a different database service, such as Amazon DynamoDB, Amazon Aurora, Amazon Relational Database Service, or Amazon Redshift. Now, obviously, there has been a feud between Amazon and Oracle that has been going on for several years. But the important thing to note here is that Amazon running on so many of these legacy databases understood the pain of managing them at scale. And even at Amazon's size, they were able to successfully migrate their core systems to cloud-native platforms. Analytics workloads are especially well suited for the public cloud due to their highly volatile nature. Legacy data integration pipelines can be predictable, but this is due to the limited scope of the data that they cover. Enterprise applications like enterprise resource planning, customer relationship management, human capital management, inventory management, and transportation management systems generally create predictable volumes of data. But what is unpredictable? The questions that you will ask of your data. Will you be able to analyze the data to assess the impact of a drought on your corn supply? Will you be able to analyze the financial impact of a new piece of legislation? What about how a new infectious disease will affect the population? So many organizations are unable to handle these new analytical workloads in tandem with the old ones. And existing data platforms are not designed to quickly scale up to handle new requests. Waiting a month or even a year for a new environment or a bigger environment is no longer acceptable. The business needs answers now. And what usually happens when they can't get the answers that they need from their data platforms? The business analysts resort to spreadsheets. Shadow IT. Now, not that there is anything inherently wrong with spreadsheets, but the data in spreadsheets is often unverified and the models and assumptions are often untested. And the business uses it because, frankly, it is the only thing that they have. And it is often incorrect. Now, clearly, this is not sustainable. So this leads us to Cloud Data Summit. We live in an amazing time. Cloud-native applications and microservices have drastically lowered the barrier to entry for analytics. Just 5 years ago, it would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in tools, hardware, and manpower to create a data platform. And you would need several full-time employees just to keep the lights on. But today, a small business with only a few employees can implement the same or even better data technology than the world's largest companies. They can spin these up in record time with no capital outlay and run them at a scale appropriate to the size of their data. And they only pay for what they use. This breeds a new era of data-driven innovation, which has never before been available. Our mission is to bring these technologies to the forefront. We want to cut through the buzzwords and the hype. We want to help companies make better decisions and enable them to thrive in a landscape of more nimble competitors. Now, welcome to Hopin. If you have never attended an online summit, this is the future of work. For Cloud Data Summit, we considered starting a brick and mortar event. Traditional conferences are expensive. Conference facilities, catered food, and the logistics of moving people. Hours or days sitting on a plane, staying away from home. The direct and indirect expense of attending an event outside of your city is upwards of $1,000 per day. This greatly limits the number of events that your team is able to attend, and it puts these events outside the reach of much of your staff. This is not productive. We wanted to create an environment where all team members have access to exceptional learning, training, and growth opportunities. And in many ways, a virtual event is a better choice. So here we are at the forefront of cloud technology. On the cloud, for the cloud. Now, a quick introduction to the Hopman Platform. You are currently watching the main stage, where all of the talks and presentations will be taking place. The main stage is a one-way communication platform where the presenter is free from interruptions, like mobile phones from the audience. Attendees can ask questions through the chat window, and they can respond to poll questions on the right side of the screen. The reception area which is the house icon on the left, which is where you started when you logged in. This is where you can find the speakers and schedule, see the moderators, and any other general event info. In between each talk, we will head over to the networking area. So this is the button, the handshake icon on the left. Here you will meet face-to-face in a one-on-one setting with other attendees, speakers, executives, data scientists, and more. This is similar to how you would meet others while you were standing in line or walking between events without the standing in line. Each networking match is set to a maximum of 20 minutes. This is designed to give you enough time to meet someone new and encourage you to keep meeting new people throughout the event. If you would like to connect with that person later, you can exchange your virtual business card, which will be stored in your personal wallet. During lunch, we will move to the lunch table in the sessions area, which is the people icon. Here, we can have a casual group chat over a meal. Sessions allow for multiple attendees to be on video at the same time. This is similar to a web meeting. Up to 10 people can participate in a single session on camera, and we will have several running in parallel to allow everyone to participate. We will also host a virtual happy hour after the sessions are over each day. One thing to note, don't assume because it might be late in your part of the world that no one else will be attending. Although the conference schedule is centered around the Western Hemisphere, we do have attendees on every continent and in 14 different time zones across the globe. The last section I will point out is the expo area. This is the booth icon on the left. Here you will be able to get more information on many of our sponsors. Not only are there live links so you can visit the sponsor websites, but some also have videos embedded into Hopin where you can learn more about the platform. If you have any questions or encounter any issues during the event, visit the reception area, the icon with the house. Here we have listed the names of all of the moderators. You can direct message moderators or anyone else inside of the event on the right side of your screen. Just navigate to the People tab, click a person's name, and you will have the option to message or connect with them. If you have issues where you are unable to connect to the event, head over to clouddatasummit.com where you registered for the event, and you can talk to one of our moderators in the chat box. Now, please head over to the networking area with the handshake icon where you will be able to connect with peers while we get ready for our first talk. We hope you have a great event.